crazy, so loud. You get shaking, shaking, so proud. When a lady was a baby, there's a saving she's craving we don't know about. It ain't always easy, but I promise it's beautiful. Welcome to the side they're gonna show, baby. Ooh, child. There will be trials. I'll help you through reality.
Oh, you dance with me. Yes. Hi, everybody. Oh, goodness. Okay, so y'all should already know who this is, but just in case you are new here, I am T Moore. I'm your girl. I am the host of On the Other Side of Mama because there is more to this mom life. And I found out just minutes ago how much more there is to this mom life. Yeah. So I'm excited. So we're going to be talking about what it's like on the other side of living out your purpose as a mom. And I have one of my amazing writer friends with me. She is a boss. Okay. Let me tell y'all, I just want to drop this 10,000. Y'all probably like, what does that mean? That's how many copies her book has like sold. Like, let me tell you, that sounds like she earned out to me. But 10,000 copies of her book. Plátanos Are Love. And it is such a beautiful book. Sharing her heritage, Dominican, if I'm not mistaken, and Puerto Rican, if I'm not mistaken. So just blackity black all up in this thing for Black History Month. Even though the episode probably dropped in March, but I'm just saying, it's a lot of blackness happening here. And without further ado, I want to welcome to our show today, Alyssa Reynoso-Morris. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. You are too kind. You are too sweet.
Yeah.
And
Then
I
tell us
love
about
your
yourself.
book. I love your book.
What?
I
What
read
book?
it to my little.
Stop it.
I read it to my little, and yeah, it's just joy and
Oh.
inspiration and good job. Kudos to you getting into Target.
Listen, this is not. Listen, my Target runs hit differently. Let me tell you. The way I go to the back of that store, okay, and then they be real ghetto though, because sometimes they have the book in the back, the Black History books in the back. So I just move it up front to the end cap on the other side. Yeah, I'm gonna take it to the other end cap because who gonna see it? They're not gonna see it if you have it back here. So we need to put. It's just 29 days this year. Okay.
Target is a big deal. You.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So proud.
Oh, thank you, friend. I appreciate that. Okay, so you have to tell people who you are.
Yes.
Because they need to know how amazing you are. Because I know how amazing you are, but they don't know how dope you are.
You're sweet. So my name is Alyssa Reynoso-Morris. I am Dominican and Puerto Rican, part of the Black diaspora. Yes. I grew up in the Bronx. So occasionally I'll say certain things like coffee and Bronx, and it'll come out real hard. And I currently live in Philadelphia. I call Philadelphia home. And I am an author. My first book is called Plátanos Are Love, and it is an intergenerational story between a little girl and her grandma, and she learns about the cultural significance of plátanos. I like to describe my books as love letters. So Plátanos Are Love is a love letter to my ancestors, to my abuela, who instilled pride in my culture and my roots at a very young age.
Yeah.
And then it sold out, its first printing. But girl, can I tell you something?
Tell me.
I'm gonna get in trouble, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I didn't even realize it was like the first printing sold out because my publisher didn't tell me anything.
I'm realizing that's pretty commonplace.
So I'm sharing this because in case you're hoping to like find out this kind of information, you ain't gonna find out by them telling you. The reason I knew is because so my book came out in April. And in like November, I was organizing an event for December because I organize a lot of events. And like with schools and libraries and nonprofits and all this stuff. And so I'm organizing an event and I was ordering books for that event. And when I'm getting ready to order books, they're like, oh, so like when do you need the books by? And I'm like, I need them before December 11th because that's when the event is. And they're like, well, your book is on back order. And I'm like, what does that mean? I think I know what you mean. But what does that mean? And they're like, well,
help me understand.
Right, help me understand. We're waiting on the second printing. It won't be available until the last week in December.
Wow.
And at that point, it was like, yes! But also like, all right, gotta go.
But what do I do? Right.
Fortunately, it worked out. They were excited for me and they were like, yeah, we'll just get the copies later. And it worked out and all that jazz. But yeah, it's ghetto. You gotta find out stuff on your own.
That's wild though, like, because I am really curious about this Target run. I'm just like, I want to know how many books it's moving in Target. How close are we, y'all? But they don't tell me stuff. And
you get your like report twice a year or something, and then that's and then
that's
like,
it.
That's it. The only numbers you can kind of see live are your Amazon numbers, but those are like,
oh, can you?
Small, yeah, you have like create like your author portal on Amazon.
Yes.
And then you can see those numbers, but it's not the full picture. It's just like a really small piece of the puzzle.
Like a snapshot.
Yeah, like if I were to go by my Amazon numbers, it's only like 20% of what I actually did.
You better be like humble bragging. Y'all just hear how she just dropped. It's like only 20% of what I did. Like, okay, friends, tell us.
So that's my first book. My second book is also a love letter. It's called Bronx Is My Home.
My home.
It came out October of 2023. And it's also a love letter. It's a love letter to the Bronx. But it's really a love letter to all kids, letting them know that no matter where they're from, they can become whatever they want to be.
That's right.
So it's very near and dear to my heart because growing up in the Bronx, the narrative was always very negative, and I was just like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. The Bronx is amazing. And so it highlights Santiago as the main character, and he's exploring the Bronx with his mom on a Saturday, and it celebrates, you know, like the big places that everybody knows about, like the Bronx Zoo and Yankee Stadium, but it also pays tribute to, like, you know, the local food trucks and the smaller and it's kind of borderline nonfiction in the sense that it does have like fun facts in there. So I've been very privileged to do a lot of events in the Bronx at Bronx schools. And even people native to the Bronx are like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So it's fun because those little, like, the sprinkling of facts provides another level of engagement for people. Because Bronx Pride is real. Bronx Pride is like...
Listen, it's deep. Baby, so Jamaicans, you know, they tend to migrate to that area. And so my great grandmother, before she passed, they were there living in the Bronx. And I remember the first time I went there, I was a little nervous. I ain't gonna hold you. I was a little nervous. I was like, you know, I feel a little safer in Inglewood. I don't, you know, coming from Cali, I was like, oh my. But I loved everything about it. I remember passing Yankee Stadium. Actually, when we were there, it was the weekend before 9/11. So when we were there, Aaliyah's funeral was happening, and anybody who knows me knows I am a huge Aaliyah fan. So I remember watching it on the news at my grandmother's house, the horse-driven carriage for her funeral procession, and then coming back home and 9/11 happened. And so That was the last time I had been to the Bronx. And then they moved upstate to upstate New York before she passed. And so I love New York though. I want to go though as a tourist. The kids really want to go. Like I want to go to like Manhattan, and I want to go to like, you know, the Fifth Avenue, like Times Square. I want to do all the
definitely
things.
worth it. It's especially like it has New York City has changed a lot. I will say the pandemic changed New York City a lot. Like even I go up there a lot for events, and it's just not as many people. It's crazy to like to see it. So in some ways, it might actually kind of be nice because a lot of people, if you're not used to it, New York City can be overwhelming. For me, it's like a breath of fresh air. I whenever I go back home, I sit in the subway for like a solid 15 minutes, and I'm people watching all the foolishness. And that's how I
don't want to do
recharge my
that.
batteries. Like other people need to go out into like the field with some daisies. I mean, that's nice too. I'll sit with some daisies and stuff. Like that's cool. But for me, what like really recharges my batteries is seeing New Yorkers be New Yorkers.
Listen, don't do it. All the shenanigans. When I went back home to Cali, it was like, let me tell you. So LAX is, of course, not in LA. It's in Inglewood, right? And so, let me tell you, gentrification at its finest. It is so different. Like, I've been watching Insecure, like binging Insecure, and I just remember them seeing, like, calling it I Would. Listen, we have to talk about that on the side. Like,
so good.
There's so many things. Like rewatching it, I'm like, Issa D, not Issa Rae, Issa D, the character, was trash. And they was real reckless out here having sex. I was like, yo, I have yet to see a condom wrapper pop up with most of y'all. I don't even know. Like, I know how Lawrence got chlamydia because he was out there being nasty too. And
Lawrence was being nasty.
He was being real nasty.
Maybe it's because I'm from the Bronx and I have a lot of friends that are kind of slutty. That I don't judge, you know. But I didn't think she was being overly promiscuous. I just thought she was living her best life.
I mean, she was out there. No, she out now, friend. She's out there. Now I'm not talking about trash as far as getting it in, but like trash as far as she treated Lawrence.
Yeah.
Then Daniel. Now Daniel was real fine. Them big teeth of his. I was like, he has some real big teeth. I didn't notice this the first time watching this. Maybe I was zooming on them pecs and stuff. And then watching when she went to give him, you know, go down, and he popped her in the eye with it. You know, that's still classic. That's still classic. I got a picture of her where it's like one eye, like whited out. It's just whited out.
Yeah.
You just gotta rewatch it because I'm just like, you really cheated on this man. Yeah, because like you really cheated on him, and Molly wasn't as bad as I envisioned her watching it. Like
Molly. I feel like of all the characters, I kind of resonated.
Mm-hmm.
No words, I promise.
You write words
with her.
Yeah, she wasn't as bad. I understood her arc watching it again.
Yeah.
But it's such a good show. It's such great writing. Okay, we're off topic.
Well,
but anyway.
No, it's on topic because that's what we do. Like as authors, we analyze and we like. I can't watch something and not analyze it. Like it's so. It just. I look at the characterization and the growth.
Yeah.
You know, like all of the feelings that I'm feeling toward them. It's like mirrors for certain aspects of my life that I'm probably not processing or liking about myself, right? So it's just like, why am I feeling so strongly about this? And it's just so interesting to analyze it for the work that it is, but also like the impact that it has on my life and my, you know,
like has your career. So speaking of that, right? So we're talking about purpose, right? But no, because think about it. So so in the book, the book I wrote, Filmmakers, are co-authored. All right. One of the people I profiled was Issa Rae. And I was very inspired by her story, right? And just think about it, even though she's not a mom, but just watching how she like at Stanford and was like, I'm about to create this web series. And she makes the awkward Black girl.
Yeah.
And then it kind of morphs obviously into what we see now, right? And I think about that as a mom, what that means to me. Like pursuing the dream in the face of a no, right? Because I think like as moms, we're already told that, you know, you kind of have to just be a mom. Like that's it. Like once you become a mom, whatever dreams, hopes, aspirations you have to kind of die for the time being and take care of these kids. And if you have a partner, then you got to be a partner. And if you're working, you know, you got to do this. If you're a stay-at-home mom, then you should be like watching the kids, like all these things. Yeah. And so there was a quote that I saw that talks about you're allowed to have an identity outside of motherhood. Mm-hmm. And Mariah Maddox is the person who's attributed to that. And so when you hear that, what do you think? Like, as you think about like just where you are in your career and what you're doing now with your sweet girl, watching you go out here making these boss ass moves, because that's what they are, right? They're just boss moves. It just is what it is. Like, what, like, kind of, how does that hit you when you think about the progression?
Yeah.
I know that was probably a lot.
In full transparency, so my daughter was planned. We were like, you know, ready to have her and super excited. I had done a lot of things before becoming a mom. I got to travel the world. I worked for the United Nations doing like research, helping to like set up witness protection programs. I build water purification systems and aquaponics systems in the Dominican Republic. I started a nonprofit. I did a lot of really cool things.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I felt like I lived a pretty full life. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, all right, I guess we're ready to like do this before like my ovaries shrivel up and stuff. I guess we should do this. That's the narrative, like being Latina, like being part of, it's like being a woman is synonymous with being a mom, and it's just like it's like that's just the way it is in our culture, and it's just like that is your role, that's your purpose, like you have to be a parent, you have to be a mom. And in truth, I raised my siblings. My mom was a single mom. I'm the oldest of 3, and I enjoyed raising my sibling. You know, like some people had that responsibility and look back at it with like, oh, thank the Lord, I don't have to do that anymore. I actually enjoyed it. I wanted to, you know, like hurt my sister a lot of times because she was the biggest pain. My brother was my baby, and he called me mom for like ever, and I would always have to remind him I'm his sister.
I'm not your mama.
But he's my baby. Now he's taller than me. And when his voice started changing, I literally had a nervous breakdown. All that though to say, I helped raise my sibling, and I enjoyed that journey. So when I was ready to be a mom, I was like, I got this. Great. Yeah. And then I became a mom, and I was so depressed. Like it. As someone who always wore multiple hats, it was really weird to have this one identity consume all of my other identities. Yeah. And it drove me a little crazy. And the good thing is, I was like, I realized that, I recognized that I've struggled with depression my whole life. So I like was able to see it bubbling up. And I was like, I need an outlet. I need something that's just mine, that I don't share with anyone else. And for me, that has been writing, and it's something that I wanted to do for my whole like life, you know? Yeah. I wanted to be an author since I was 7 years old, and I was always writing, but I didn't know any authors, so I didn't know how to become one, you know? And like in school, you read like all of those books written by old white dead men. So it's just like, I guess that's not going to be for me. But I kept writing for myself. Yes. And then finally, after becoming a mom, I realized
Yep. Mm-hmm.
that it's not too late to tap into this other dream that I had when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I took that risk because
Mm-hmm.
it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life to.
What made you do that though? Like, what made you like
A
say,
couple
okay,
things.
I'm going, tap into this
Yeah,
again?
it was a couple things. So one, I was always writing, but I was
Mm-hmm.
mostly doing it for myself. It was while I was pregnant and I was putting my daughter's library together that I
Mm-hmm.
saw the industry hadn't changed very much in over 30 years. And I
Yeah.
was frustrated and extremely hormonal. And I called my mom and I was like, yo, like, it hasn't changed. And she's like, yeah, what
Yeah.
did you do about it? And I was like, I'm gonna write my own book. And, it was like that, like
Mm-hmm.
anger, and I guess
Mm-hmm.
also for like that, I was very naive in the sense of I'm just gonna do it myself. And I'm glad I was that
Yeah.
naive, because then I was just like, well, I've done all this other crazy stuff before. Why not this?
Yeah.
And then I started like really writing intentionally to write children's books for her.
Yeah.
But what was fueling in the background was the fact that I felt like I lost so much of my other identities.
Yes.
Like I was always
Mm-hmm.
traveling and I was always helping people. And so then
Yeah.
I found myself incorporating the love of helping other people in my books.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized
Mm-hmm.
something here, right? Like, yes, it
Mm-hmm.
started off because I was hormonal and pregnant, but what I'm doing when I'm writing is I am writing love letters to kids that historically had not seen themselves and their experiences on the page.
You better preach.
And I'm healing myself because
Yeah.
I'm making 7-year-old Alyssa's dream a reality.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I thank my daughter for this new
Yeah.
chapter in my life, because if it
Mm-hmm.
hadn't been for her, I don't know if I would have done it. Like I would have kept
Yeah.
writing, but for myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had did an essay about that and talked about how my kids reignited this passion of mine.
Yeah.
And I've like I think with most writers, like we've been writing because we've also been reading since we were younger.
Yeah.
So it's like we've always been immersed in this world
Right.
of fantasy. And so mine's ended up a little bit when my parents got divorced, because at this point now I'm like, I want love. I want to see love
Mm.
stories. And
Yeah.
so I remember like, and it sucks because of all the moving around and just kind of with my childhood, a lot of the writings I had are lost. And so
Aw.
recently my mom,
Yeah.
it sucks because I used to start and write books, and then my mom found a box, and I went in, it finally went in this box. I found my middle school planners, and I found 2 of my journals from middle school and high school. And I am like, let me
Wow.
put some holy water on my kids, because what was happening here? But it was like I got to relive
Yeah.
this thing. But I remember with each kid, something happened. So with my oldest daughter, I took the step of leaving corporate
Mm.
and choosing to become a stay-at-home mom.
That's a big
And
transition.
it was huge. But I remember she was born early. She was 7 weeks early. So there was just like, and by the time she's 12 weeks, the standard 12 weeks that you're supposed to go back to work, she's still tiny.
Yeah.
Like we just got to wearing newborn size clothes, and she's 3 months old.
Yeah.
I can't put her in here. And I remember I felt physically sick at the thought of being separated from her. So I remember telling my husband, I said, I can't do it. I can't go back to work. And that staying home eventually, for almost a year, birthed me starting my own law firm. I'm
Wow.
like, well, I got a law degree. Not even a law degree, I have a license to practice law.
Yeah.
Um,
You worked
maybe I
hard
should.
for that license.
Yeah, I worked. Listen, $150,000 worth of student loan debt. And I worked for
Yeah.
this, so I should probably use it. And so that was the first thing that got birthed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started working on this book, the first adult novel I wrote that I started probably back in 2012-ish time frame. Got pregnant with my second daughter. And then I was like, I need to finish this book. I'm not going to do anything else with this book. I'm just going to write it just to say that I've done it. And I've actually accomplished this thing that I set out to write. And that was the purpose. So I finished it in 2017.
Sometimes
I'm
you
like,
gotta
cool.
prove to yourself that you can do it.
That I could do it, because novels are like, listen, they're long.
They're hard.
They're hard. They're long to write, but you know, I'm gonna do it. So I remember doing that and writing it and finishing it and publishing it. I did it independent publishing. So I was like, okay, cool. And like you, putting together the library for the kids, and I'm like, I got these girls, and are there Black authors? Because I didn't, again, growing up, I didn't see this for real. There were no author visits for real in elementary and middle school.
I didn't be an author until I was in my late 20s.
I don't think I've really met any authors until maybe here recently, to be completely honest. Just thinking about it, I can't recall going to any book signings, purposefully going to a book signing until here I'm 40 now, so like within the last decade, like, and
I think the reason why even I was exposed to it maybe sooner is because I grew up in New York.
Yes, so you got to
a big hub, so we had a lot of, a decent amount of books.
Yeah.
And so I remember the first time I found out about like an author signing event, I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing authors did.
Yes.
Book tour. Yeah.
What a book tour. It just sounds fancy, but it's like, what is that? Like, no, and even living in Georgia, outside of Atlanta, I didn't know about Black bookstores.
Yeah.
That just recently became a thing within the last 2 or 3 years for me. Like, oh, they exist?
They do.
Like, because we need more of them. Like, and just knowing, then when we had our son, and then seeing like, where are the Black books on adoption that center Black families?
Yeah.
That show Black families being the ones that are not animals.
Yeah.
That are not, white people adopting children of other ethnic backgrounds. But where are the families, the books that center our situation?
Right.
That show us in the pages, that are not even self-published books, that are on from traditional publishing houses. And that is what sparked me wanting to write children's books.
Yeah.
And I remember that first manuscript being 1,100 some words. Okay, because I needed all the story in here in this book, and you could not have told me that wasn't going to be a bestseller. I just want everybody to know that said book has morphed into something totally different, and it still is not out there, as they do. But I just remember the pandemic 2020 being a year.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it was the year that I decided to lock my hair. It was the year that I decided to get my nose pierced. It was the year that I decided I'm going to go forward in this publishing career. I'm going to put my name out there. I've heard the stories about, from independent authors, like, they're going to make you change your manuscript. It's going to not be the same story. It's going to be this and that. And don't you want your own money? Because, the royalties, you can keep more. But listen, like the advances, you gotta earn, like all these things. But it's like, yeah, but I still want to try it.
Yeah.
I still want to see if I can do it, because I don't know how to dream small. And if for me, living my purpose feels more of a rebellion.
Yeah.
It's more of a like, yeah, I'm a mom. And of course I'm going to do this big shit. Like, I'm just like, my kids, my girls in particular, need to know that they can be a mom and blank, and they can fill in that blank.
Yeah.
You can do that. My son, he needs to know that if you marry a woman, if that's your decision, you need to know that she might be a boss chick.
Yeah.
And I need you to make sure that you let her light shine.
Yep.
And be a partner that knows how to pick up the slack and knows, and she ain't got to be over here struggling, trying to do it all by herself. Like, I need you to be a really in tune partner.
Yep.
Like, so it felt like this rebellion. It felt like I gotta live my purpose out. Like, I felt kind of like you said, for me, I felt like I was drowning in this identity of motherhood.
Yeah.
It felt like I'm just drowning. No one's saving me.
Yeah.
And all I do is I wake up, I'm breastfeeding, or I'm changing a diaper, or I'm dropping the kids off, or I'm doing this. You're like, laundry is never ending.
Never.
It is never. I just don't understand how laundry continues.
Dishes.
Yes. Even if you have paper plates, it don't matter. Like, it just doesn't stop.
Dishes just don't stop. Yeah.
Oh, I don't like it, but
and I love being a mom. Like,
yes,
I love being a mom. Being a mom has helped me be a better person. And I was a pretty decent human being beforehand. Like,
you was pretty decent.
I was. I used to volunteer and I did all that stuff, and I cared about the environment. I always celebrated Earth Day year round. I was one of those people.
So, like, you're a tree hugger. That's cute. I love it. So we need more.
We do. They agree. They agree that we need more tree huggers. And so for me, it was like I was already a okay person, but being a mom has taught me to be more empathetic, and it taught me to be a better person. But it was too much to just be a mom. It was too much.
Yeah, that's a word. It was too much to just be a mom. Like, and that's what it felt like. Because it felt like if you were just a mom, that's it.
Yeah.
And when your kids decide to leave the home, that is when you are allowed to maybe now be other.
Yeah.
You can now live life. And so I used to tell people, like, I don't want to be lukewarm to the grave before I decide to live my life.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like it felt like an unfair trade-off that I had to sacrifice me.
Yeah.
In order to live, like to enjoy. Like, I had to find my only joy could be from my kids.
My kids.
That is the source. That's it. That's the only place where the source of my joy comes from. I have to be essentially a martyr to this role that I wanted.
Yeah.
So one of the things I do in my presentation, I share with the kids, this journal entry from 5th grade. And it's about my future life. I was very delusional, okay, at this age. I'm just going to put this out there.
I don't think that's not true still for you. I mean, I think you've always...
Friend, I wanted to marry Ray J. No, I wanted to marry Ray J. I was Delulu. Or some guy named Terry. I don't know who Terry, if you listening, and we was at Simpson Elementary School back in like 94. I hope you're doing well. I don't know who you are, but I wish you well in life, because I wanted to marry you and have identical girl triplets.
Wow, that's very
specific. It was very specific, but I also want to go to UCLA law school with my best friend Monica. Monica, also, whoever you are, I would hope you're doing well too. Maybe you became a lawyer as well. I don't know, Monica. I wish you well in life too, Monica. And we was gonna go to UCLA, girl. Okay, you hear me? That was the plan. I was gonna be a criminal defense attorney. We praise God. Again, he knew trademarks was better for me. Because if I got to be your criminal attorney, you probably gonna go to jail. And I don't know how to get you out. You just...
But you still became a lawyer.
I still became a lawyer, and I became an IP attorney, and I do the fluffy side of law. And I tell my clients, listen, if you decide to do something that's illegal, you will probably sit there. I can recommend somebody, but with me, you will be in jail. And God bless you. Nonetheless, I wish you well. And I was going to charge people $50 to talk to me.
I mean, that was a lot of money.
That was big money, though.
It was.
That was big money. Now, we don't charge that much to have a conversation no more, but, you know,
Fair.
you know, but yeah, life, but like you said, but to your point, I was a big dreamer, and I never have known how to dream small. That sometimes the dreams that I dream, even still now, feel, it's like the crazier the dream, the more I want to test out the theory.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
Like, will it work if I do this?
Absolutely. No, I hear you. I'm the same way. Like, for me, you know, you have your, you know, vision boards are popping and everybody does all this stuff. I had a vision board before vision boards were even a thing.
Baby, yep.
It was, I had a room. I shared my room with my sister and my grandma. And so I didn't have a lot of space, but I had the wall where my bed was. And my wall was covered with pictures and poems.
Yes.
Langston the Dream Deferred on there. Had, like, pictures of amazing places and destinations. It was a vision board. Before,
it was a vision, yeah.
Vision boards were even like a thing or popular, but I had my favorite, like, people on there. Like, I had, you know, like, pictures of my heroes growing up, and I had, you know, people that I wanted, that were aspirational for me, that I wanted to be more like. And I knew I always wanted to travel, and so I had pictures of the pyramids and all these, like, cool places that I wanted to go to one day. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it, but I was going to figure it out.
But that's not the point. Yeah, I was going to get there.
And now looking back at that, it's like, I have vision boards before they were even cool. And I still do them, like, now intentionally, now that I know the power of them. But I have vision boards back, you know, when I was in second grade. I distinctly remember one summer. My mom was actually a teacher. So, like, we learned English together coming up. And then I was a ESL student. I was struggling to learn English and to, like, read and write. And my school was an under-resourced school in the Bronx. And so I was struggling. I actually didn't learn how to read until I was in fourth grade. Because I was, my school didn't have the resources, but I kept getting promoted because I was a good kid and because I was good at math and science. And so that actually inspired my mom to become an ESL teacher. Now they call it L, English Language Learner. So she is an English language learner teacher, and she gets to work with little Alyssas that were struggling. And so before that, you know, like, when she was working and going to school. And so she would enroll me during summer school because she didn't have childcare. And, you know, it was like what she needed to do because she needed to work.
Yeah.
So I was the kid, even though I didn't, like, technically at that point need it because I was doing good in school. I was still in summer school. And I remember one time, my grandmom would be the one to usually, like, pick me up while my mom was working, but my grandmom got sick and she couldn't pick me up. So my teacher actually dropped me off. And you're not supposed to do that these days. Like, you can, you know, get in.
Yeah, there's some creepers out here too.
Big trouble. But I remember, you know, I was like, I only live 2 blocks down, and so she, you know, she walked me home, and my no one was home, and she just, like, wasn't sure what to do. She was like, should I, like, leave this kid by herself or whatever? And I was like, let me show you my room. And she's just like,
you trying to get me caught?
You know? It worked out. She didn't get fired, thank God. She's a good teacher, and one of the first Black teachers I ever had, which is also
Oh, wow.
important.
Which is also nice. I could think mine was in high school. Yes.
Very, very important. And so I showed her my wall, and I was like so
Mm-hmm.
excited, and like, I have these distinct memories of like showing people. I was like, "These are all the places I'm gonna go," and da da da. And now I get to do school visits, and
Mm-hmm.
I did those things. I traveled the world,
Yes.
and I did all this crazy stuff that
Mm-hmm.
little Alyssa aspired to once upon a time. And one
I
night
just
I
think
remember
so
I was
dope.
putting my daughter down, and she was like, "Mommy, you're the best author." And I was like,
Don't your heart just melt when they say that to you? Like, I'm your favorite. What?
and in that moment, I knew I made the right choice, right? Because sometimes you feel like when you're doing other stuff other than mothering, you kind of feel bad that you're not doing everything for your kids, and it's moments like that remind me, no, this is worth it, because she comes to my events with me, the ones that are like public. She's come to those events with me, and she is so proud. She's like that. She tells all those little kids that are there, she's like, "That's my mommy. That's my mom."
The way that they light up, like when we went to Target and they saw that book,
I bet.
Baby boy was like, "That's my mommy's book." My best marketer is my middle baby.
I bet.
Like the way this is Tanisha Moore, and she wrote Micah Football Fumble, and I Am My Ancestors' Wildest Dreams, illustrated by Mr. Robert Paul Jr. Like the way baby, she gonna give credit where credit is due. My oldest just be trying to hand the books out, like Maya from Girlfriends. When Maya wrote her book and she's passing out to Trump, that's it. Sid, like, "You want a book? Here, my mama wrote this. You want a book? Here, I gave it to my teacher mom." That was not for her. You're supposed to bring that one home. Okay, that one's already been assigned to somebody. I will give your teacher a book. And so I had to give her teacher a book. My teacher's so sweet. And but
they're proud.
So they're proud. The funny thing is that they hate that I travel, because I've been home with them their whole lives. And so last year was the first year, I did a lot of traveling last year.
Yeah.
And just personal and professional, like being able to get back home to see my granddaddy before he had transitioned, was really special. To see him, and he remembered me, which was really even more special. And he got to hold and a copy of Ancestors and Micah in his hand. I was like, "Oh, Papa!" But them, it was like in January last month, they cried. The girls cried because I was leaving again for the weekend, and they were like, "Well, why can't you call them and tell them to get another ticket for me to come?" I'm like, "No, I hate that you're an author." But in the same breath, my oldest wants to be an author. She wants to be an author illustrator. And we were working on her biography project, and I said, "Well, what college you want to go to?" Because she still had my school on there. And she's like, "No, I want to go to Clark Atlanta like you." I said, "Oh, you want to go to an HBCU like your mama?" Like,
yeah.
I mean, you didn't have a choice because we was going to do that route anyway. But the fact that you want to go to my alma mater, and she's like, "And I want to be an author." Like, she is like, that's it. And so I was more of the power of the pen, like writing out the vision, right? And so one of the things, so in growing up in church and all that stuff, like one of the scriptures that they talk about is I think it's Habakkuk. I have never know how to say this book, and I don't think the pastors know how to say it either. Habakkuk, whoever, habit. Okay, that book, 2:2. Okay, that's the Bible. I'm like, but I don't. If it ain't regular like Psalms, Proverbs, regular Mark, John, I could say them. Habakkuk, y'all know, those who read the word, the Bible, y'all know who I'm talking about. Anyway, say, write the vision, make it plain, right? And so I remember I was getting a massage, and the person who was doing my massage was just like, yeah, you should write down your plans, like what your dreams, like just write them though as they happen, not like how you want it to happen, but like write it as though it happened already, right? And I was like, I said, okay, I'll try it, right? And so I remember, kid you not, September 2018, I wrote like a 10-year. First of all, I'm extra. I gave myself instructions. The person who was doing that. So I was like, why not? So I'm like, pretend, you're made a friend, it's 10 years from now. Like, just a whole prompt for myself. And I write it. And I kind of hold back. I know there's parts of it where I'm like, I'm holding back on this. This thing is probably somebody else's vision for me. But nonetheless, I'm going to write it, right? Yeah. So fast forward to the following year, we adopt our son and go on about life. I end up finding this notebook because I have, you're a writer. We have thousands of notebooks all over the place. Just so many. It's ridiculous at this point. How many notebooks I just collect for no reason at this point. And so I find it and I go to this page and I remember I get chills because I'm reading the first opening of what I wrote. And I kid you not, verbatim is how my son's adoption happened. There was maybe 2 or 3 things that were not the same as what I wrote. And it was like his name is different, what we wanted to name him, how we connected with the bio mom, and something else. All minor details in the grand scheme of things. And I remember I got chills because I was like, yo, how did this happen? Like, really?
Wow.
Like, how did this happen?
Wow.
And it literally was, I think one of the things I said was like, our son Austin is 10 now, and he knows he's adopted, and we have been working with him, and he seemed like I was like, he's aware of his origin, because that's important to me. That he knows that anyway. So I'm like, so he's good, blah blah blah. We got connected with so and so before Savvy turned 2. Savvy had just turned 2 when we adopted.
Wow.
Like, their birthdays are 5 days 5 days apart. Their birthdays are 5 days apart.
Wow.
It gives me chills even thinking about the power of a dream. Yes, and just like the way your brain will create this world for you. You know what I mean? And I just think, like, as moms, gosh, we got to dream big.
Yeah.
Like, we can't stop dreaming. Like, we have to continue to be big dreamers for us. Really for us. Before the kids. Like, because the kids just need to see it and know that it's possible. Like, the fact that my daughters can say, because they'll grow up to be like, mom was doing it. Yeah. And was still showing, she was still at my practices. Right. She was still coming to my games. She still made it to my school stuff. Now, I'm not going to lie. Some of this stuff I don't want to go to. I ain't going to hold you. Like, some of this stuff, I be like, I don't want to be here. I would rather be in my sheets, sleep. But I'm going to come. But to know, like, she still showed up when it mattered. Right. And she still got to live out her dreams too. She was my mom, but she was also this. Like, I want my kids to be proud of me. Like, that's what I desire for them. Like, I want my son to be like, yeah, my mom, like the fact that he want to be at home with me forever. Like, I want that to still continue when they get older. Yeah. And that's my goal. I want my kids proud of me. Like, I know people like, I'm so proud. I want my kids to be proud of me. I want my kids to be like, you know what? Mom, you did all right. You was a great mama.
Mm-hmm.
You were good. And I really desire that for them. So question for you, that as we think about, the women who are going to be listening to this, who are in a mother type role,
Mm-hmm.
what advice would you share with them, like to a mom who feels like how we felt when we felt like, shit, I lost my identity in these kids. I love them. I wanted to do this thing, but did I really? Because there are days where for me, I have questioned the hell did I sign up for? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
You
think the
know?
first thing is to know you're not alone, even though you might feel
Mm-hmm.
like you're alone in that sentiment.
Yeah.
And, work through those feelings because they're complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, work through the feeling of guilt or whatever it is. Like, I felt, guilty, not feeling satisfied in being a mom only. Like, I felt like I was, by doing other things, I'm taking that time away from my kid, and I dealt with all of those feelings. So give yourself permission to like feel those. They're valid, but then remember that they're always watching you, and that if you feel unfulfilled, they know and they
They
feel
sure do. Yeah.
and if they might not be able to like name it, but if you're not your best self, if you're not the best version of
Mm-hmm.
yourself because you're not happy, because you don't feel fulfilled, they feel that.
Yeah.
And you can't be a good mom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for me, after I worked through those initial feelings, realizing that I'm actually a better mom when I'm happy and when
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing these other things that bring me joy,
Yes.
I was able to get over it. And
Mm-hmm.
now she's a part of my process. Like I read her
Yeah.
initial manuscripts. I was like, so look,
Yep.
so this one, and I tell her, like, this one doesn't have the pictures yet, okay? So you have to use your imagination. She's like, okay,
They
mommy.
don't like that. Mine don't like that. They
They
said,
don't
what
like it.
pictures?
It
They want
depends.
pictures.
It depends. It
Yeah.
works better. Most of my stories are more like heartfelt.
Yeah.
But I've been playing with funny recently. So it
Mm-hmm.
works better for like my funny stories.
Yeah.
So if
I can see that.
I'm writing like a funny story, because she can play the images in her head, and she's okay with
Mm-hmm.
that. Whereas
Yeah.
like the more touchy feely ones are a little bit more abstract and are a little harder for her.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, she's a part of my like early draft process. Like when I'm trying to write something, if she says it's not good, I'm like, okay, what's not good about it?
Okay.
What's not
Right.
good about it? And she's like, well, this and that, so she's one of my critique partners. And then,
So sweet.
she is out there with me when I'm doing events. And
Yes.
when, she remembers to hand out stickers, because I always forget, like little, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
here, you're on sticker duty. And she's like, I was like,
She
remember,
got something to do. Yeah.
one per person, and she gives out the little stickers, so
Mm-hmm.
she feels incorporated and that she's a part of the process. And
Yeah.
so, my success is her success, and she sees
Right.
me happy, which I think is really important for our kids to see us happy.
Yes. Yeah. That's so good. And I would also just add, like, having a support system,
Yeah.
having a strong village around you, and dig back. Some dreams do need to die. Some dreams, are not just they was cute. But that one that nags you, the
Yeah.
one that you were just like, I can't. And don't worry about if you're gonna fail, if you're not, just do it.
Yeah.
Just I don't know how this publishing thing's gonna work, but I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep showing up, and I'm just kind of person depending on what if I lock
Right,
in
our
on it.
target.
I'm at Target, so I can't quit now. That means I got to figure out how to get back in Target and put me in Walmart and Sam and Costco. Baby, you ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing when I get in Costco. Costco is expensive. Listen. The day I go in Costco, I'm telling y'all, I already act special, but just know the level of shenanigans is upping. Don't let me reach a New York Times bestseller. Ridiculous. Coretta Scott, okay, Newbery. I'm gonna be foolish. Y'all just wait. Just the foolish. If I knew how to be for real bilingual and I could get the parade purple, what how you say it? That one. Yep. I'm gonna get all of them. I'm gonna get my brothers to help me. They Mexican and black. They could. One of them speak Spanish real good. He can help me. That's right. I'm gonna talk to them. My nieces. I'm like, what? Besos? Huh? What we gonna say? Huh? Give me the Spanish. I'm about to dig into my Spanish bag. Oh, the people ain't ready for me. They're not ready for me, Alyssa. They don't know what they about to get into. Get all the awards. And I'm be real extra about it too. They're gonna call me on the Spanish stage, and all I'm gonna be able to say is "Hola, ¿cómo estás?" That's all I got for you that I learned from Spanish class. And I'm pull out my phone and pull out the translator.
Yeah, it'll help.
That's the best I could do for y'all. This is as far as I remember. Es nombre, tu nombre. This is all I have. Okay, I just remember snippets.
It's okay.
Spanish.
You gotta be fully immersed. That'll help.
I try to get y'all to do, but then you start talking that fast Dominican Spanish. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, Dominicans talk too fast.
Whoa, you got to slow walk me from
region. There's like different dialects. Yeah, it's rough.
I be trying. Now one of my babies thinks she Mexican, and it'd be real funny because is she speaking Spanish? Yeah, she's speaking Spanish. So I watch Dora to help me often.
Dora's great.
Dora is amazing, baby. Yeah. We be out there, me and her in boots. Okay, yeah. We be like, arriba. What's the other, abajo? I don't think that's a word, but nonetheless.
No, I hear you though. Like my third book that comes out this year comes out July 9th. It's called Gloriana Presente. It's a first day of school story.
Gloria Presents.
Yep. And it's about, finding your voice and building confidence, and I'm holding out for an award.
I can't wait.
I'm like,
it's coming. These books you have been writing, sis, they are freaking beautiful. And I am happy that kids are getting to see culture, like all kids. Like that I feel like our class of writers, like we are kind of like, I'm gonna write what I want to write.
Yeah.
I'm not writing to a trend, to a market.
No.
You gonna get whatever I write. Like it wasn't a mistake. I went on Amazon to read my reviews.
I
just wanted to see, because I'm trying to get 50. So I'm like, so I'm trying to make sure that they coming in. But I saw one from a person, and they was like, why you have Tupac and Biggie in here? They glorify sex and drugs and stuff. And I'm just like, I wish I could have the conversation. I want somebody to ask me the question of why I intentionally included. I am aware of what happened with Kobe. I am aware of Pac and Biggie and what they were at those ages. But the point of including men like that was to say, we all make mistakes.
Right.
But everybody is redeemable. And in the case of Pac and Biggie, they also were 24 and 25 when they died. We don't know who they would have become had they had the opportunity to live longer, and what they could have changed. And so what kids need to understand is that your choices can lead to some things, some consequences, good or bad. So be mindful of the choices that you make, but understand while you still have breath in your body, you can change. you are redeemable.
Yeah.
Now, are there situations where I'm just like, this person is not redeemable in my book? Absolutely. I will keep those names to myself because of this podcast. But there are some people who I'm like, I got to just give you to the Lord because I can't mess with you. God, I can't mess with you. But I think that's such a thing especially when you're talking about going after your dream. It's easy for us as women who have children to feel, especially if you're a teenage mom or you had a child, you know, and just different, you feel as if you're stagnant and you can't go forward.
Yeah.
And so it's like you still have to, it doesn't matter the choice made.
Right.
You can make new choices and new decisions. So this has been amazing. This has been really fun. And so you already kind of talked about Gloria Presente. Okay.
Gloriana.
That's coming. Gloriana. Okay. I thought it was Gloriana, but I was just
It's all good.
Gloriana Presente. Did I say it right? Presente.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm telling you, boy, I tell you, I'm about to watch these shows in Spanish. Y'all ain't gonna know. So you have that coming out in July. This we're just gonna put it out there, award-winning book, right? Okay.
You don't think it into existence. Yes.
I'm just gonna put it out there. It out there. So what else is going on in your world? How can people connect with you? Like, tell the people what's up.
Yeah, so that book comes out this year. Then in 2025, I have 2 more books coming out. One has officially been announced, and it's called Pieces of Home. And I am working with the same editor that I worked with Plátanos Are Love with. So it's special because I really love my editor. And it's about 2 sisters that are going around their neighborhood, collecting momentums and pieces of home before they have to move.
That sounds so beautiful.
For kiddos that I feel like we've all had to deal with, like moving, whether it's something that you had to do a lot growing up or just once or twice. It's still kind of a lot. It's a traumatic. It can be kind of traumatic. So, you know, I think this is going to hit home for a lot of those kiddos. And then I can't share too much about the other book that's coming out, but yes, 2 books in 2025.
Oh, yes, come on, 2 books.
The best way to connect with me is through my website, alyssaauthor.com. Other than my website, I am pretty active on Instagram, so you can find me at A for my first name, Reynoso-Morris. So Reynoso Morris, Morris. And yeah, I mean, the best way to show up for authors is if you have the means, buy our books. If you don't,
please buy our books.
Yeah, please buy our books. If you don't, that's fine. Request our books at the library.
That's right.
Because that makes a big difference. Review our books.
Please.
And, you know, word of mouth is still the #1 most effective form of marketing. And it was part of like the key of my success. It was because I was supporting a lot of authors in their journeys, and so then they reached back and supported me when my book came out. So I'm always buying other people's books, even though I don't got the money for it. And
listen, I need to go fund me. I buy books. I literally buy all my friends' books. It's probably almost 3 to 6 months out from when I'm able to purchase the book. But I'm like, I'm buying the book. But if I can't buy it, I'm going to retweet it. I'm going to share it. I'm going to do all the things. And if it's at my library, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, check it out at your local library. If it's not at your local library, request it from your librarian. Because when those requests matter, because they actually turn into purchases. And
that's right.
When you're buying books, please support your local independent bookstore. I bought your book from Uncle Bobby's Black-owned bookstore in Philadelphia. So, you know, you got to support our independent bookstores because they're doing
They're
really
the
important work.
lifeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really are doing great, great work. And we don't have any here in Alabama, but Georgia does. They have plenty. So we got them next door. But this has been so much fun, Alyssa. I am so grateful that you took time out of your day and your schedule to come hang out with me. And y'all, we're gonna wrap it on up because y'all know what we do. So I will see y'all on the other side because that's what we do. So love y'all. Bye.